Hello and welcome to Entrepreneur S.O.S. Your hosts here, Monique Mall and Sandy Colleen. And today we are going to settle the great debate on planning, written or digital planning. Which one is best for you? So Sandy, let's take it off. Let's start off with, I think the first thing we need to talk about on this topic, I feel like the whole industry is some people are crazy about their planners.
They are. And you know what? For years and years, I bought one every year because there's this planner and that planner and the manifestation planner and the goal setting planner. And every year I'm like, I'm going for it. I'm going to write in my planner and bust for me. And it's not a bad or a good thing or right or wrong, but for me, I can't do written planners.
You know, it's interesting. I actually didn't think that people were that into it. Like for me, I'm not a written planner either. I can't plan my month out on a planner. And the reason I don't like it is honestly, not because it's not a great thing to do, but I'm always afraid I'm going to lose the planner. And if I lose the planner, then I'm screwed.
I never
Like, what am I
thought of
going to
that.
do? If I can't carry that around on my computer or my phone, I'm probably not, because I am notorious. I'm not kidding you. I think we've had this conversation. I lose things all the time. So I was like petrified that I would lose everything in
Well,
front of
what
me.
if you
But
use your phone?
well, that's the thing. Well, but
It's
I use
backed
a
up on the
cloud.
computer,
It's on
right?
the cloud. It's
Exactly.
on the cloud.
Exactly.
So here's the thing, guys. There's nothing wrong with written planning. Like, in fact, most people we have found prefer it. And you should do honestly what works for you. Make sure you're just consistent with that planning. But for me, I'm all about having something that can be in the cloud and that I can carry with me and utilize between devices. Sandy, I know that you also love to time block
Yeah.
and, maybe talk a little bit about what that looks like for people. And because you can do this either written or digitally.
So going back to the written planner, and this is why I actually got the written planner for years. It's so funny because one of the leaders in the industry that we were in before, network marketing, the company we were in before, she said she always had a written planner is because if the IRS came to audit, then of course that was before the cloud and before all that good
Before the
stuff. She
20th
says
century
they
occurred.
can't take the computer away. Well, now everything's in the cloud, so that's kind of like obsolete. I just thought that was funny, but time blocking. I am the queen of time blocking, I have to say, and I
You
color
really
code
are.
everything. And I know a lot of people say that they color code and that they time block, but don't stick to it. And that's a whole nother subject that we'll talk about down the road. But I do like to color code. I have different things, different colors for different things that I do, different businesses that I run, home, all my different calendars that I have. But you can also do it in a plan. Like I have a friend who has the calendar, and I actually have a planner somewhere around here still because I did buy one this year. I'm not gonna lie, but I just didn't. I wasn't consistent
She
with
just
it.
can't let go of that habit. She's very consistent in buying her planner.
Exactly. And then and I even bought color pens, and she really sticks to it. She takes her color pens, and I love that,
That's
but
amazing.
it is amazing. And she colors it. She has the color code. For me, and like I said, even this year I tried, and I'll probably, I'm not gonna lie, for 23, I've already looked at them. Don't let me buy one because it's just gonna wind up in the trash, and I don't want to do that. But I love color coding. I love having my daily routine, my personal things that I do, and then my different businesses. So I do different things and I have a different color for different things. So it's that visual. Like I look at my calendar, I'm like, okay, this is for this is for this is for this. And it just really works beautifully for me. And again, you can get your color pencils and you can do it in a planner if that works for you.
Highlights, that's where I
Or
think
highlighting.
oh, I know that
Exactly.
highlighters are a big thing in the planner world. So, and that's great. So daily though, like I said, daily, I'm not great with routine. So I time block, but not to I think the extent you do. But I also have a very different life, and I know you have like 3 or 5 different businesses, and I mean, I know people that have kids and they have a job and they have a business, and so I get like the whole like being very, very astute in your time. And as this business grows, and I know that I'm going to have to get better at it. But for me, daily, so I'm one of those people, and this is how I think run for as long as I can remember. I'll sit down at the beginning of the day. So I don't do it the night before. I know you do. I do it at the beginning of the day because for some reason I'm like a zombie after 8:30. My brain just goes shut down. So I'm best in mid-morning. I wouldn't say early. I'm not a 5 a.m.er. But I'm good at the morning and I sit down and I just know what I have to do. I sit down and I list all the things I need to do. I do a brain dump. And then I started to look at this concept that I actually learned on TikTok, which I didn't realize was a thing, but I always kind of did it naturally, which is called time boxing, where you pick the top 3 or 5 things you need to do, and then you set time during your day to do that. Now, that's again something that I realized like these are things that I learned to do a long time ago, but then really doing them every day is great for me. So for me, you'll find in my office, I have a to-do list, or in my journal, whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm using, whatever medium I'm using, I will write down my brain dump, and then I will pick the top 3 to 5 things that have to get done that are non-negotiables for that day that I have an intention around. And then I will set aside specific time in my day to do that. So that's kind of how I do my day. How do you do your day? What is your day? I know you use a digital calendar and I know you're time blocking. Why don't you walk us through how you're actually setting up your day?
So the night before or the evening before, and it's actually usually while I'm done with my office, close the door, and I go out into the living room, I have a cup of tea, and I sit down and I look at the next day. And some things are just in there every day. Like my morning routine is in there every day. And my appointments that have been pre-scheduled are in there. And then I will look what needs to get done. And kind of like you, even if I and things that I don't want to do, but I kind of need to do, I do first. Like I really put that
Oh,
in there first.
they eat the frog. Is
Yeah,
that what that's
yeah,
called? You
yeah,
eating
yeah,
the
yeah. They
frog.
eat
Yeah,
in the front,
yeah.
yeah. So I do that first because, we all have things for the most part that we don't want to do. So I really get them done, try to get them done early in the day. And then I schedule, what I do also do though, is I schedule breaks. Like I never used to do that because I literally used to sit there for 8 hours and I'm like, oh my God, like my stiff, I'm getting old, like my hips.
Yeah.
So I do.
Can't really do that anymore, huh?
So I do schedule breaks. Like get up, I do a little stretching, I go get water or a snack or whatever. And of course I take the dogs out, I have to do that. And so I always buffer some time when things need to get done because things do get done or you get a phone call that isn't scheduled, but it's important that you still need to, I don't know, a doctor's office or whatever that you need to
And you do
take.
this all digitally, correct? Like pretty
I
much
do it all
everything.
digitally. I
So
do
do you write
everything
anything
digitally.
down, or do you write anything down, or is everything done on like your phone? Like you have a note dump on your phone?
I do have a note dump on my phone. What I do written are goals, but longer term goals, like goals. And this is, of course, a whole nother subject, but like long term goals, or when I say long term, I mean even like quarterly, half year, because I think the energy and the emotion that goes behind it, handwritten, but I also have a horrible handwriting. So then I go back and can't read half of it. So that's another reason. But I do write those things down. But my day to day tasks, everything is 100% digital. And I just actually switched this. I used to write like shopping lists by hand. Now I use my notes in my iPhone. I just use my notes and it's easier at
Funny
home.
because I tried so hard to do the shopping list on like Alexa and like my phone. I tried Google Keep. I tried all these apps. And I'll tell you what, no matter what, it's the best for me to do is I have like a pad in the kitchen and I still write my grocery list out. I cannot get rid of that habit. I'm digital so many things, but for me that is such a visceral kind of thing. Like I even if I lose the list, I remember it. And I agree with you on the goal setting. I've never been one where I could put the goals, like my goals for the year or the quarter or even the week. I always needed to write it out. I needed to like viscerally write it as a handwriting. For some reason, when I do that, my brain connects closer and more to what I've written. But that being said, when I was in sales in our network marketing, when I was working that business so hardcore, I was writing, I would schedule backwards. I guess I would reverse engineer is a better way of saying it, my sales goals. So that was a number situation. So I was using spreadsheets.
Yeah,
I would write down
right.
exactly what I needed to sell, how much I needed to sell, by when, to hit a certain, sales goal or rank or whatever it was that I was going after in that particular business. But when it comes to like long term, I'm like you, I want to write it down. And then I like to go back and I actually like to date it. So I kind of know when I'm writing my goals and what they look like. And
Yeah.
I've done the future dating goal thing. That's great. But I think there's something more visceral when it comes to those kinds of goals versus like the numbers goals. The numbers goals, or even team goals, I feel like are better suited digitally because then you can work as a team or you can see those goals and utilize spreadsheets.
And exactly, and going into a little bit of a techie and more of a productivity thing, but Google has so many great tools that we can use where you can build together on a team. So, and we will talk more about those down the road, but there's so many great apps that we can use that we can work together. Like you, I also like for numbers, I definitely like a spreadsheet, but for more of a manifesting touchy-feely emotional goal, there's definitely something to be said by handwriting it. And the checking off of the lists, like I used to have such pleasure in checking it off, but even using for me, it's like tick on the little iPhone app on the notes, it
I
does it
don't
for
know.
me.
I like that visceral, like, you're gone. I like to just scratch
Scratch
it
it out.
out. Yeah, I like to scratch it out. So at the end of the day, guys, here's the situation. There is really no one way that is better. It
No.
is what's going to work for you, and you're going to stick with it and you're going to do. So, Sandy does
Consistency, right? Consistency is all
consistency.
that matters.
Sandy does hers very differently than I, but we both are very productive and we both get things done. And you just have to be able to know, I'm going to say this, a lot of times you'll hear like, this is the best way to do this. Don't feel bad if you feel like you need to do it a different way,
No.
because you'll do it versus you won't do it. And if you want to learn, then learn. If you want to be more techie, be more techie, but do what works for you best. So, we're going to link some things in the show notes. We have a great freebie resource for you to really take a look at your time and ask yourself how you're using it. It's called our Time Tracker Toolkit. Make sure you download that and check it out. And then, we have some other places you can follow us. You can find us on TikTok, and that'll be linked, as well as Instagram. And then, for you ladies out there that are listening, we have an amazing women's success community on Facebook where we bring lots of value and different things that you won't see or hear on this podcast. So, make sure you check that out and get into that link. And if you guys have any questions or comments, always feel free to, drop us an email to team@simplystructuredsuccess.com, or drop a comment in the show notes, and we will try to answer your question as soon as possible.
See y'all next week.